Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. My name is Ginger Pierce, and I'm one of the travel agents with Marvelous Mouse Travels. MMT is the agency that sponsors this Facebook group, as well as several others that are focused on different destinations. We are a You Preferred travel agency with Universal, and we are also chosen by them as the 2019 top travel agency in the country. So, welcome to Sundays with MMT. This is a weekly live agent panel video series that we do in one of our Facebook groups every Sunday night at 8 p.m. And we are so excited to talk with you tonight about the premier on-site hotels at Universal Orlando. So, we have a lot of information that we're going to share with you tonight, but we also want to reserve some time at the end of the video to take your questions. So, at any point tonight, go ahead if you have a question and drop that into the comments, and then we will address all of the questions at the end of the video. We are going live tonight on a platform called StreamYard. And so if you want to post a question, StreamYard might ask you to grant permission for it to display your username as well as your profile picture. Just know that you don't have to grant that permission if you don't want to. You can just deny that and still post your question anonymously, and we will still be able to answer it and interact with you. But I'm joined tonight by two amazing MMT agents. Ladies, thank you so much for being here tonight. And if you would just take a minute to tell us your name, tell us how long you've been with the agency, and what the best way is for people to contact you if they're interested in planning a vacation.
Hi, everybody. So I am Jennifer Self. I have been with Marvelous Mouse Travels since August of 2017, I think. It's been like 3.5 years. I'm a platinum planner, one of the top agents, and I absolutely love Universal. We've traveled there many times with our family, and I've been on a few training trips there as well. I am actually I live in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and my family, I have a husband and then a daughter who's a senior in high school and a son who's in middle school. And we just love to travel. And so I decided that one way to help, get more travel in is to be a travel agent and learn more about it. So I have been doing this, like I said, for a few years now, and absolutely love planning trips for my clients. So good to see you guys.
Hey, everybody. I am Katie Taylor. I've been with the agency with Marvelous Mouse Travels for almost 5 years. I actually have my 5-year anniversary on the 16th of this month. So I have a wonderful husband, Thad, and I have 2 kids. One is Peyton, he's 16, and the other is Abigail. She is going to be 7 this week. So we have a big week this week. So let's see, I live in Canton, Georgia, and I absolutely love Universal. It has become almost my second home. We are going back this July, and we're actually getting annual passes. So I'm really excited about that so that we can continue to go more and more. So I'm really excited to be here and tell you about these fantastic resorts. They are absolutely wonderful. So I'm excited. So, hey, guys.
And again, I am Ginger Pierce. I am about to celebrate my 3-year anniversary with the agency in May. I am a master planner, and I also am an annual pass holder for Universal Orlando. My husband and 2 kids and I love to vacation at Universal. And when we do that, we always stay at a premier hotel, and we'll kind of explain the reason why we do that as we talk through these different hotels tonight. But the best way to contact me is actually my Linktree, which is gingermmt.com. That has all of my different social media accounts linked to it. But my primary social media presence is actually my YouTube channel, and that is youtube.com/gingermmt. I have a lot of resort tours and other stuff for both Disney and Universal if you want to check those out. But ladies, I'm going to start tonight with a very general question, maybe even aimed at someone who has not been to Universal or maybe hasn't been to Universal in several years. There's no scarcity of choice in terms of hotels located near Universal because Universal is on International Drive. There's a lot of different hotels in that area. So with all of those options, what are some of the advantages to staying on site at Universal?
Well, I'll say that when you stay on property, the thing that stands out to me the most is that you are immersed in the entire experience. You are staying, when you're staying on property in a Universal resort, you're staying at a resort where it's all Universal employees. They all are familiar with Universal, what's going on. And so you're already starting that experience. There are some perks to staying on site, some of which are you get early park admission, you get a shuttle that takes you to and from the parks pretty much continuously from 30 minutes or an hour before the park opens until the last guest has made it back from City Walk. So there's just a lot of different perks, but I think that the main thing for me is just to be fully immersed in Universal as a whole when you stay on property.
Mm-hmm.
I have to agree. That is, and I love what Jen said about that all of the employees are Universal employees. So they are able to help you with anything that has to do with Universal, whether it's dining reservations or whether it's how to get to the parks or what's the shuttle, what's the schedule or anything. And the other great thing that you get is all of the tidbits of information from them. I know that when we stayed at Royal Pacific and we stayed at Jake's and we ate at Jake's place, they were telling us the whole story about Jake. And if you don't go to that resort and eat there, then you might not ever hear about why the airplane is sitting outside in the pond, So it's just, I agree. It's so everyone is just joined together and they create the whole Universal atmosphere. And I love that about all of the resorts. All of the resorts have that. So
Yeah, I completely agree with everything. And I would also add in just the convenience factor. You are, in some cases, particularly with the hotels that we're going to be talking about tonight, you are walking distance from the parks. I have two kids. My kids are 8 and 5. They're still kind of at the point where about halfway through the park day, they need a little break. They need a little respite back in the room. And so it's so easy to be able to get back and forth when you're on site, when your kids are just like, I'm done, So, and I'm like, I'm
exactly.
done too. So, and also too, right now, with capacity limits in place, there's even more, I think, importance on being in site because of that preferred entry, and you are already counted in the capacity limits for that day. If you're
Absolutely.
on site. So, yeah,
that is a huge perk
deal.
Right now. That is a huge perk.
Yeah, absolutely. So Universal currently has 8 on-site hotels. They have 2 value hotels. They have 2 prime value hotels. They have 1 preferred hotel, and then they have 3 premier hotels. And we are here to talk about those premier hotels tonight, which are Royal Pacific, Hard Rock Hotel, and Portofino Bay. But before we get into the specifics of each property, what, in your opinion, are the advantages of staying at the premier level as opposed to value or preferred?
Well, for me, one of the biggest perks is that wonderful unlimited express pass that comes with your stay.
Yes.
I absolutely love that, especially having a 7-year-old or 6-year-old, 5-year-old, however, that has no patience whatsoever. Being able to not stand in a line for an hour is so beneficial for my family. I know some people can handle standing in lines. My family cannot. So we love the unlimited express passes.
Yes.
So, and I was trying to think if there was anything else the walking distance. That was the other thing. Especially Hard Rock because it's so close. That was fantastic for my mom because she's a little bit older and she's the one who needed the break. So she could walk back and get there very quickly and rest and not have to worry about taking a bus or going through City Walk or anything like that. So that was nice for her.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will agree. I will say that those express passes, we are those people that will stand in line and it doesn't bother us. I have older kids, like it doesn't. But we went this last summer and even with very limited park capacity, and so the lines really weren't that long. But my family got spoiled, going going in that short line and there being like 5 people in the line at
Yeah.
that point versus the, I don't know, 50 or 100 in the other line. We got so much more accomplished
Mm-hmm.
in a much shorter period of time. And then we were able to go back and enjoy our resort, which the resorts, I mean, they have amazing pools.
Mm-hmm.
They have restaurants in them. There's plenty to do. And so it gave us more time to go back and enjoy those things as well. So I think that Express passes, and if you price it out, if I stay at one of the other resorts, it doesn't include it. And then I price out to add the Express Pass. If you buy it separately, it's like you wouldn't believe the difference in price between just paying a little extra, staying at the they were really nice resorts, and then having that perk. The price difference is completely, I mean, it's kind of crazy how much you save by staying at the ones that include the Express Pass.
Yeah. Especially if you are a family of 4 or 5, like it's almost always going to be a better deal to stay at that premier level. And you also, it's almost like on top of that, you have a nicer resort, you have nicer pools, you have a nicer room, you have more proximity to the parks. So, I mean, it really is all the way around. It's a win. I couldn't agree more. And for people who are watching who might be thinking like, what is Express Pass? Express Pass essentially just means that you get to wait in a shorter line than the regular standby line. And so it can cut your wait time a third to a half. It just really just kind of depends on a lot of different factors, but it saves you time, like Jen was saying, and then you do have that time left over if you want to go back and swim for a little bit or explore City Walk or shop or do whatever else you might want to do.
And I equate it to for my clients, I tell them that it's kind of like Disney's Fast Pass without having to pre-schedule anything and use it as much as you want anytime you want. So you don't have a limit. So I can go get in the Express Pass line for, Forbidden Journey 30 times in a row if I want to, and just keep writing it over and over. And I don't have to schedule it and I don't have a limit. So it's huge. Absolutely huge.
I totally agree. My son is that way with Flight of the Hippogriff. I mean, it's literally, we rode that thing 4 times. It was like one right after the other.
Yeah, Rip Ride Rocket is my kids.
Do that.
Yep, over and over and over.
Oh yeah, that's my husband. He's off and then right back on with the Express.
Yeah.
So let's start with Royal Pacific Resort. How would you describe the theming of Royal Pacific Resort, and what do you think are the greatest advantages of that specific property?
So I will say that Royal Pacific, first of all, the theming is going to be a Polynesian theme. I feel like I step into, even the area outside of the lobby. You see that lagoon area there. You cross the bridge. Everything feels like you're in Hawaii. The rooms are they're very classy, with a little pop of color with the floral. Back behind the beds, and the just the property overall is incredibly beautiful. Just the foliage, and we did my daughter made up a scavenger hunt for us to do with friends when we went this summer, and so it got us kind of all over the property with we went to the pet area and to the different restaurants and found different tiki things, and it's just so well themed. Like they really took the time for detailing. Some of the things that I don't think that people necessarily know is the pool at Royal Pacific is smaller in the fact that there's less people. And so when we stayed there this summer, I mean, there may have been like 5 or 6 other families in the pool. Whereas if you go to some of the other resorts, I know Cabana Bay, because we switched over to Cabana Bay, their pool had lots of people in it. So I think that it's a smaller resort. So it puts less people using the amenities, and with it being so beautiful. And in the walk to the parks or to City Walk, I don't know, maybe 7 minutes. And we were running. Like leisurely stroll. You get to walk the water canal path. You get to enter in a different place that's over closer to the actual parks instead of on the other side where the buses drop you off. And so you get to do security there. And there's just so much less people that you save a lot of time that way as well.
You do, for sure.
I agree.
I love that separate security for premier guests because it does. I mean, you're not waiting in a longer line to go through security, and it just makes that process so much less. I mean, it's not a terribly stressful process as it is, but it removes all stress from it. Like it's just you just zip right through, and then you're in the park, and it's great.
You're separated from the offsite guests, and then the value guests that are taking the bus shuttle. They're getting dropped off over at the parking area. So those people are merging together and then coming across the bridge into City Walk. Whereas at the premier resorts, you're over in a separate area, separate from all of that, and then it's closer to the parks. So you're not having to walk all the way through City Walk to get there. So that's one of the things we should have said earlier but I didn't think about it for the premiere.
I don't know if you guys notice this when you're pricing it out for clients, but I do tend to notice that Royal Pacific is typically the lead in terms of pricing for these premieres. So it usually is the most economical option. And it's also on the Islands of Adventure side. If that's your favorite park, or that happens to be the park where early entry is for the time that you're there, then that's really great too. Hagrid's is in Islands of Adventure. Hogwarts is in Islands of Adventure, Forbidden Journey and everything. So for a lot of people, that is a big perk of Royal Pacific too, is being on that side as opposed to the other. But it's not like they're far apart from each other, but it just puts you that little bit closer.
And it does have the water shuttle, the water taxi as well. I mean, walking is pretty, what we would do is if the water taxi wasn't right there, then we would just walk, because we would walk quicker than waiting for it. But if it was there, it's a pretty nice little ride, just kind of chill. And then, you're riding through in that big Islands of Adventure tower. It's just a pretty cool thing just to kind of pull up to. So
it is. Yeah. So let's move on. Oh, go ahead, Katie. Sorry.
Oh, no, I was just going to say one other thing about Royal Pacific, not exclusively for them, but they, like Jen said, they are a pet-friendly hotel.
Yeah.
So you can bring your lovely fur baby with you, and they take care of all the stuff that needs to be taken care of if need be.
Yeah, so it's pretty amazing what they do.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
And for the people that, I know for me, I don't necessarily want to stay in a pet friendly resort because I have allergies and I don't want to be, but those like Royal Pacific, they have an area. So all of the pet friendly rooms are in a certain area of the resort. And so you don't have to worry about, because they have 3 wings, you don't have to worry about if you need a pet, to be not near the pet friendly. Honestly, we never saw any pets the whole time we were there, except when we were at the pet park. So you got to go looking for them to see it. So,
and we actually stayed in the where the pet friendly rooms were. And the only time I heard an animal was when we were leaving in the morning. We would hear one little dog barking, and that was it. At night, we never heard anything. It was like they weren't even really there. So, I mean, it did not deter us from being in that area at all.
Awesome. That's good to know because, I know a lot of people that might be a legitimate concern. Some people love the aspect that Royal Pacific is pet friendly. Some people might be deterred by that. And so, it really sounds to me like it's kind of the best of both worlds, that you don't have to see and be near the pets unless you want to. But you have that option.
Right. Absolutely.
So let's move on to Hard Rock Hotel. How would you describe the theming of this resort, and what do you think are its greatest advantages?
I love Hard Rock. That's we just stayed there this last July. It was the first thing I noticed when we walked in was the cool vibe, the laid back, relaxing I guess is the best way to describe it. It was just everyone was very laid back. There was tons of memorabilia to look at. If you are a music fan,
Mm.
absolutely you need to stay because they have memorabilia on every level. They have memorabilia in the velvet room and in the lobby, in the kitchen. I mean, like everywhere there is something.
Mhm.
So I absolutely loved the Hard Rock, and the music playing was just, even my mom was like, this is so cool that I'm hearing all of these great songs, because it's not just like heavy metal music or, anything like that. But I mean, they even play, it was great. My kids loved it. Of course, my son is a huge music fan anyway, so he just totally took off and started looking at all the music stuff. He just
Yeah.
loved that. But the people there were just super, but not that they are not super nice at all the other hotels, because they are, but they were that they gave you that rock star feel, whatever you needed, they took care of it for you, that kind of feel that they have. So I loved it, and that's where we're staying again. We loved it so much that we are actually going back and staying there again. And we stayed in club level, which was awesome. And I'm pretty sure, and y'all can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the Premier Resorts are the only ones that have club level. Am I correct on that?
Yes, you are.
Okay.
I think so.
So
Yeah.
we did the club level, and honestly, it was so much food and so much drinks and so much stuff that we had the quick service plan, and we came home with snacks because we had so much in club level. So it's one of those things. So club level, if you have a huge family, like a family of 5, I would go club level the whole way, because you will end up saving a whole bunch of money on food
Mhm.
staying in club level. So
Yeah.
it was great.
That's a great point.
And I'll say a few perks of Hard Rock is, if you're that family of 5, when you stay at Royal Pacific, they have 2 queen rooms, and then they have the larger family suites. But for the ones that are looking for the smaller rooms, the 2 queen rooms, and then you would have to get a rollaway. I almost said a layover, a rollaway, and then like a rollover. But there went my headphone too. It's great. Okay. There is a deluxe room at Hard Rock that actually has a sleeper sofa. So you can fit 5 very easily. So I like that they have that added option for those families where you're not having to upgrade to like a family suite, but still have the option for everyone to have a bed without bringing in a rollaway. And another little fun perk of Hard Rock, its pool has music underneath. So if you go underwater, you are going to hear whatever the soundtrack music is. And then I had one more thing, and if I remember, I'll come back to it. Sorry. I had one more. I know I did. I got distracted.
I did have one other thing about the pool. She did bring up something, and y'all will have to help me on this. I know that at Hard Rock, they have a huge water slide. Do they? And I don't remember if they have one at Royal Pacific. Do they have a water slide? They don't. That's what I didn't remember seeing it, but then I thought, well, the kids were she was much
like
smaller.
Water shooting thing. Like water.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
I gotcha. Okay. Perfect. So there's a huge, so if your kids love water slides, it's got a great water slide.
Yeah.
So, and there's also a little sandy beach area there at Hard Rock too, which is really, really nice. We did a resort day, and we just stayed all day at the pool, and it was so nice.
Yeah.
So wonderful. Yeah. Loved it.
I love that pool. I love that pool. It's huge.
And it's not a deep pool.
No. And there's like little splash areas all around it. The pool bar is great if you want to grab, snacks or something like that. I love that pool. We even would go out and just sit out there at night and just eat dinner out there and just kind of take it in. Like, it's just such a nice pool. I love it out there.
It really is.
My favorite part of Hard Rock, though, honestly, was the location. And one of you guys mentioned that earlier.
That was my third thing.
Yeah, it's the closest.
Yes.
It's the closest.
It
Yes.
is the closest. And I don't know why. Like I got into this conversation with this other young mom, as we were walking to the parks and everything. And she had, her child who was probably 3 or 4 or something. And she told me, she said, let me just tell you, I guess I have one of those faces where like people talk to me when they don't even know me. But she was like, she said, I will never stay at another hotel than this hotel, because being able to go back and forth when I have left something
Yes.
or my child is like having a meltdown or whatever. She said, I don't know why we didn't do this years ago, but we will never go back. And I was like,
Yeah.
yeah, you can't say
Yep.
anything more than
Can't
that.
argue with that.
No.
Can't argue with that. Absolutely.
Yeah. And if you are a music loving family, or you have somebody who is a music lover in your family, I cannot remember the name of the program. Y'all can help me out with this if you do, but
Oh,
you can actually rent a guitar
In
at
the,
Hard
yeah.
Rock.
Sound
And
Rock.
they have their rock
I
star
think it's called
suite, and
Sound Rock.
then
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
and then you can reserve the guitars. That's
You
right.
can. So
Mhm.
if you really want to and I mean, obviously they give you headphones and stuff, so you're not blowing everybody else out, but it's
Yeah,
a
they're
cool
smart
way.
about it.
Yeah, and I mean, I think they're Fender Stratocasters, so I mean, like they're
Yes.
nice guitars
They're
too.
legit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
they're legit.
Mhm.
Let's talk about Portofino Bay. How would you describe the theming of this resort, and what do you think are its greatest advantages?
Okay. Well, I love the theming of the Portofino because it's Italian. I mean, how
Mhm.
can you not just love that view and just be be whisked away to an Italian village? I mean, that's what it was. And it is an elegant hotel, but it's also a very fun hotel. They have fantastic restaurants there. Oh my gosh, the Italian, oh, they're so yummy. And they have great pools too. They have a big pool, and then they have a smaller adult only pool, if I'm not mistaken. Um, I'm pretty sure it's still adult only. I'll have to double check on that, but I'm pretty sure it's adult only. And this is where I like to send all my honeymooning couples who want to go to
Mhm.
Universal, because they have the trio of opera singers that come out and they sing on the balcony, and it's just a very romantic. They have the gondolas that are sitting there. It's just very romantic, and it's super yeah, I love the hotel for that. I do know that that's the hotel that has the Minion suites,
Yes.
which are
Yes.
so much fun, and I want to
Super
stay in
cute.
one so badly. So that will be a bucket list for me one day. I want to stay in one just so I can say that I stayed in a Minion suite, because they're so stinking cute.
They are.
But it's just an all around great hotel, and like I said, it's just the ambiance of the whole thing. It's very
Mhm.
it's got an elegance to it, but it's also very
Mhm.
fun. Like, it's fun to be there because
Mhm.
of and even on the inside, the way they have again, it kind of comes back to that whole being immersed in that. They just have that theming, just you're in it as soon as you walk through the front doors.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
I loved Portofino too.
I
And
love
I
It's a
will
little
say
further
that,
walk.
Oh, go ahead, Jen.
yeah, if you're looking for those photo opportunities, which I know
Mhm.
that my daughter is huge into, like the whole, Instagram scene and getting the little cutesy photos or whatever. It's an amazing place for those photos because of all of that. And you saw in that picture earlier, the bay, there it is, with the boats out there, and then they have those little bikes that have a name that I can't remember. The
Is it a
little that you
Vespa?
can,
Is it a Vespa? I don't know. Maybe it's not.
it's something like that. Sure.
People are
Yeah,
like,
one of
no,
those
that's not
things.
it.
Yeah, they'll tell us, I'm sure. They won't hesitate. But there's just so many areas in there that you can get some of the most beautiful pictures. And then you go back when it's dark and you do them all again because it's all lit
Yes.
up. It's just, I mean, you said it's elegant. I think it's just like, that's perfect. It's classy. It's definitely top notch. It's just, when you go there, you feel like you are in Italy and that you're royalty. Like
Yeah.
it's, completely different feel from the rock star or from being in Hawaii to now you are in Italy and like you are a millionaire. So,
And
and it doesn't
Jen,
cost $1 million to stay there. You just feel like
no,
you're a millionaire.
yeah. And Jen would know about photo ops too, because Jen is a photographer. So she knows about some good photo spots and the best places to take pictures. So yeah, I mean, I agree. I love the theming of Portofino Bay. I think that it is romantic, and yet it's not so
Mhm.
fancy that you would feel uncomfortable there with your kids.
Right.
Right. No.
'Cause you want to be
Mhm.
able to take your kids there. Obviously, you're taking them to a theme park, so it's
Yes.
accessible, and yet it's
Mhm.
Yes.
classy at the same time. So,
Absolutely. And
um,
I would say that the rooms there feel a little bigger
yes.
than the rooms at the other two
Mhm.
resorts. So if
Mhm.
you're wanting a little more space, then
Mhm.
those rooms are going to give you that space.
Yeah. And that's a question, that clients ask me a lot was, well, why is Portofino Bay that little bit more expensive than the other two? And that's the answer. I mean, you are paying for a
Mhm.
Mhm.
little extra space. So especially, if your kids are older and, you have
Mhm.
essentially 4 adults in terms of body size in this room, that extra space could, be nice for you.
Yeah.
And it
When you're
definitely
two
could.
olds and two teenagers, you need
Yeah,
space.
for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. So, of the 3 that we have talked about, here's a fun question. Which one is your personal favorite and why?
So our personal favorite for my family of the premier resorts would be Royal Pacific. Um, and not necessarily because of the rooms, but because of the resort as a whole and the theming, just how beautiful it is and how, your room, no matter where your room is, you're going to be seeing outside your window, just this great tropical, scenery. And then we love that the pool that there is just less people there. And so we feel like, we have more space to spread out and it's a better experience whenever, the pool is smaller and there's less people. So that's our favorite.
Mhm.
So our family's favorite is probably going to be the Hard Rock, because of the music and because of the laid back atmosphere and the close proximity to the parks. Being able to walk to the parks and coming back and taking like 10 minutes, that is awesome to me. That is such a time saver for me. If you're too tired and you want to go to City Walk and have dinner and then come back to the hotel, but you don't want to walk, then you hop on the little boat ferry and it takes you back. The water taxis will take you back too. So you've got options for that, and I really like that. And of course, the swimming underwater with the music is pretty cool, and their pool area is just fabulous.
Yeah.
So Hard Rock is probably our family's favorite.
So I would say that Royal Pacific is my favorite too. I love the laid back atmosphere. Like that resort is so relaxing. It is so tranquil. The splash pad area, like again, my kids are younger, and so they love that splash area. They were even watching a video about that on YouTube the other day. Like, oh, that's so cool. Like they love that type of thing, and so the pool area there for them is awesome. Also, Islands of Adventure is our favorite park of the 2. And so we like the fact that Royal Pacific is on the Islands of Adventure side. And it's that, you can see the Hulk from the parking lot. So, for
Yes.
us, that's probably why it's our favorite. But I will say, though, that we stayed at Hard Rock while we did the Universal Holiday Tour, which, was put on by their VIP
Mhm.
tour department. And so the VIP check-in desk is at on the Universal Studio side. And so that was really convenient. I would definitely say if you're doing a VIP tour, stay at Hard Rock or if you're doing Halloween Horror Nights, which is at Universal Studios, stay at Hard Rock because you can just bop right over in a couple minutes, check in, you're right
Mhm.
there. And it's super, super convenient. So I love them both. But if I have to pick of those 2, I think I would probably say Royal would be my favorite, but I do like them both. So, the last question of the night before we take questions from the people who've been watching us, and we do have several that I've seen come through, has to do with our role as travel professionals, what do you see as the greatest advantage for someone booking their Universal vacation through a Marvelous Mouse Travels agent as opposed to booking it themselves online?
I will say that I know for the three of us specifically that we are highly trained in Universal. We've been on specifically been to Universal on trainings to learn all about the resorts, and that we are extremely knowledgeable about the ins and outs. And right now, with the way that the world is working, things are changing all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And working with a travel agent for any destination is going to work in your favor, because we are going to be learning about those changes for all of those destinations so that we can keep our clients updated. And if there is a change in, a ride that's not going to be working, or, it's going to shut down for some type of refurb, or if a resort is going to have something going on, that's information that we're going to be able to share with our clients. And if you booked direct, you would need to be looking for that all the time on your own. And I know most people don't want to be spending a lot of time always checking for updates, whenever you can just say, hey, Jen, have you heard anything's changed? Or I might just send an email out to my clients, be like, hey, just letting you know, this is going on. And here's how you can be prepared for it, or, hey, this has changed. So here's the new strategy. I want you to go to this ride first, that type of thing. So.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, I like to, especially if I have clients who are not able to stay and do an annual pass and stay for 5 and 6 days, I like to be able to give them a nice itinerary so that they can see everything that they want to see. Because us as travel agents, we know, like, especially if they're Harry Potter fans, if they want to really, truly experience Harry Potter, typically I send them through Diagon Alley first, because that's how the books
Mm-hmm.
go. It starts at Diagon Alley and then you move over. Some people, if you book things on your own, then you might not understand how all of that works.
Mm-hmm.
So I do like to help them so that they can see everything they want to see in a short amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why, if they are only going for a couple of days, I highly recommend these premier resorts, because they're only going to be there a couple of days. And if you get that express pass, you can go and see. And like Jen said earlier, you would be able to go and see and do things not just once, but twice and 3 times and 4 times if you really wanted to. So the things that you find that you really like, you could. So, but if you book on your own, you don't have someone to help you and guide you through that piece of it.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and also,
And I'll
too,
add,
go ahead.
I was going to say, I'll add to that. I was working with a client today that was trying to figure out, what she wants to do at Universal and where she wants to stay. And I know, since I am extremely familiar with the different resorts, the different perks for each resort, and then with what she's wanting to accomplish as a whole, I was able to put together some options that fit what was good for her family. Whereas when you're on the Universal site, and if you're not real sure, there's a lot of options. There's a lot of ticket options. There's a lot of resort options. There's a lot of add-on options. And I could narrow that down and be like, this sounds like it's a good fit for you. Let's, look at these 2 or 3 options or whatever, and really help them just narrow it down so that, they're not so overwhelmed with making choices in the beginning.
Yeah, I mean, definitely Universal does have a lot of ticket options. And, you guys mentioned if you have somebody who is a Harry Potter fan, it would be terrible if you have somebody who's like dead set on, I want to experience all of Harry Potter, but they've purchased a base ticket, because then what are they not going to be able to do? Ride the Hogwarts Express, which is a big part of that experience.
Big deal.
Exactly.
Yeah. And so when I get a quote request or something for Universal, that's typically the first question I ask is, are you Harry Potter fans? Because if you are, of course, I'm going to steer you in the direction of that park to park ticket. But another thing that we do is that we also monitor for discounts. So if there is a new ticket promotion or something that comes out and it is applied or applicable to your package, even even if you've already booked it, your travel agent can apply that promotion to your package to bring your package price down. And Universal's definitely not going to call you if you book direct and be like, hey, you can save money. But your travel agent will. That's
Yes.
one of the things we do. Yeah. So that's a
Yes.
big
Send out an
Absolutely.
email. I'm like, hey, I got you an extra day of tickets and saved you $3, or whatever. So
Yeah,
for sure.
exactly.
Win-win.
That's right.
So I think that's all we have in terms of our part. So let's turn to our questions here and see what all people are wanting to know at home. You are a Premier girl and excited. Oh, awesome. Kindred spirits.
That's right.
That's right.
Hello.
Guys.
We do
Hey.
have
Hey,
some
hey.
agents at Universal actually right
Yeah,
now.
we
on the
do.
training site,
I am
so
too. Can you tell? This is
Yeah.
Universal.
You're dressed
Ready to
for
get to
it.
go.
Yeah.
I wore this is from my last training trip when I went with Katie. Yeah.
Yes. And I'm kicking myself because I didn't get one of those, and I need that.
It's been nice.
I bet. Oh, they're saying congrats on your anniversary, Katie. 5
Oh,
years.
thanks. Yes, I know. I'm so excited.
Hello.
Yeah,
Yes,
they are.
I totally agree.
Absolutely.
It's one of those things like you do it that way once and you're like, okay, well, now we
Oh, you'll
can't
never
back.
go back.
You can't go back. Yes.
No. Nope.
Yes, totally agree,
Mhm.
Danielle, for sure. Oh, you'll love
Hard
it.
Rock.
You'll
You-
love it.
hmm
Eat at the kitchen while you're
Oh,
there.
yeah. Oh, yes, for sure.
And maybe rent a guitar.
Yeah.
And make sure you swim underwater and dance to the music as you're swimming.
Oh, that's a good question. Let's see. Royal is a 0 entry, is it not?
On
Royal
one side, yes.
On one side
think
it
so.
is. Okay.
Yeah.
And I think that
And-
one side of Hard Rocks is too, if I'm remembering
That is
correctly.
correct. Yes,
I
and it
believe
is
that-
not a deep pool.
No. Mm-mm. No.
I want to say Hard Rock was like, I think the deepest, it was less than 5 feet, I think.
Yeah.
So it's a
I think
very
yeah.
shallow pool.
Mhm.
I know it was taller than my daughter,
Mhm.
but it was not by much.
Yeah.
So
yeah, like
it was
5 feet maybe at Royal
Yeah.
Pacific
That's what I'm
might be the
thinking.
deepest.
That's what I'm
And
thinking.
it has sand on over by the 0 entry
Mhm.
part. Now that I'm
Mhm.
thinking about it, yeah.
Yeah.
And Portofino, I'm pretty sure has 0 entry too, but I don't know about the
yeah.
deep.
I don't know about the depth.
Mm-hmm. Have any of you stayed club level at Royal Pacific? So have either of y'all stayed club level at Royal specifically? I know I have not at Royal.
No.
No, not
I haven't.
specifically there.
I
But
have had
it runs
clients
the same.
Yeah, I mean, it
Me
runs
too.
the same
Mhm.
way. And clients who have done it have all been, really, really
Mhm.
happy with it. Like Katie was saying, I mean, the food perks
Yeah.
are going to be the same as what you're going to get. At
And
Hard
what
Rock.
you get
Mhm.
with club level, you get the breakfast in the morning, you get snacks and soft drinks throughout the day, you get a nice dinner. I mean, I know they say heavy hors d'oeuvres, but I mean, it was a plate full of food. Like it was not just like a spring roll and a kebab or something. Like, I mean, it was nice. It was a nice amount of food. And the thing is that you could go and get more. It wasn't like they were just saying one per person or whatever, but they also have beer and wine during the hours. If I'm not mistaken, I think it's 5 to 7.
So, mhm.
And
Yeah,
during the
it's
dinner
an evening
hours,
hour.
it's during the dinner hours. But the great thing about club level, when you are staying on the resort and having a resort day, I didn't know this, but it's at Hard Rock. If you go, there's like a back door to go where and it may change now because I know they were renovating the club lounge when we were there, but where you could go get snacks and stuff and drinks and things like that to take to the pool. Like
Mhm.
if you're club level, you can go up there anytime and get whatever you want. It's
Mhm.
always open. So
Mhm.
it was great.
And they also have desserts too towards the end of the
Oh
day.
yes, that's right. I forgot about the desserts.
Yeah.
Oh
Forgot
yeah,
about the
the
desserts.
best part.
The
The
best,
best
part.
part.
That is the best part.
Oh,
Oh, that's hard, man.
that's a hard one.
Yeah.
Mm.
I mean, I
Oh,
think
Jake's
the
is pretty good.
breakfast at the kitchen is always, I mean, a lot of people love that one. Jake's is another fan favorite. Oh
oh
gosh,
my gosh. The
hard.
sweet potato fries are phenomenal at Jake's Place. Oh my gosh. We ate there twice when we stayed at Royal Pacific because it was so good. So that's why I'm saying, like, oh my gosh, my favorite restaurant at any of them, it'd have to probably be Jake's Place.
Mhm.
But she likes Hard Rock better.
I do.
So, I mean, there you go.
But see, the kitchen was really good too. See, it's just hard. It's hard for me. They're all my
We're
favorite.
gonna bring
And
you
they're all
over
You
to
can
the Royal
walk.
Pacific side.
Yeah, you can
That's
walk over. Yeah,
That's true.
right.
You can go eat at any of them.
you can.
That's right. Yeah. And the Islands dining room at Royal Pacific was really good too. And there was hardly anybody in there when we went the first time. Like, I was like, where is everybody? Like, what's going on? And the food was fantastic. It was so yummy. So yeah, there's lots of great restaurants at the hotels.
And they've got like
And
a
then,
walk experience at the islands too, where like you can pick what's going to go into like your stir fry,
Yes.
and they'll do it for you.
Yes.
Mhm.
And then not right now. I think that it's not happening right now, but usually they have a sushi bar at Royal
Yes,
Pacific.
That's right.
And so for the sushi people, like my husband and my son, they can go up and eat all they want.
we'll let them have all that.
That's right.
They go eat the sushi, and I go over to the other place and get the dessert. So
Yeah.
That's right.
I also really like the quick service at Royal Pacific. Like they had a lot of good options at that little quick service place too.
Oh yeah, we got lots of dessert there too.
Y'all are all about the desserts, aren't you, Jen?
Yep.
Well, yeah. Yeah, aren't you? I mean, come on, we're friends.
Well, yeah, well, you know. I
I'm
like
all
all
about the
food.
butter
Who am I
beer.
kidding? I like all the food.
Oh,
It
true.
doesn't matter what kind of food it is. I like
Yeah.
appetizers, the main course, dessert.
Appetizers.
I know.
It's a good thing I just ate.
Me too.
Oh my gosh. Hey, one thing we didn't talk about that I thought about was as a perk at the premieres is that they have cabanas for rent at the pools.
Oh yeah. Mhm.
Oh, that's right.
So you can rent you can actually call in advance, or your travel agent can call in advance and rent for a day, or I think some of them might do half days, and rent a cabana and have that to hang out all day at the pool. So it's a huge perk.
Making you hungry. We're making ourselves hungry too. So.
Us too.
Mhm.
All right.
There's that dessert.
I think that might be all of our questions. Well, thank you
Awesome.
so much for joining us tonight for Sundays with MMT. All of you guys that were watching, remember, even if you're not watching this live, if you're catching the replay later, you can still drop a question in, and we will be happy to answer that for you. Even if you're not, I know it's Super Bowl Sunday, and so probably a lot of people are watching the Super Bowl instead of us. So if you join us later, you can definitely still ask questions, and we'll jump in and answer those. But we had a lot of fun talking with you, as you can tell. We love Universal Orlando, and if you're interested in more information about planning a vacation, feel free to reach out to any of the agents that you heard from tonight. And remember that our planning services are always completely free when you book your vacation through us, and booking through us is exactly the same price as if you were to book it yourself on Universal's website. Next week, we are actually going to be live in our Disney World group, and we are going to be doing an overview of Disney's deluxe on-site hotels. So if you're thinking about a Disney vacation, or maybe a split stay between Disney and Universal, I actually just booked one of those for my family today. We're doing a split stay between Royal Pacific and Disney's Riviera Resort. So come join us next week at the same time in that Disney group. And then in 2 weeks, we will be in our all-inclusive group, where we're talking about how to choose the right all-inclusive vacation for your family. So we would love for you to come and join us over the next couple of weeks. But thank you so much for joining us tonight, and we hope to see you again for another episode of Sundays with MMT. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye, guys.